Well, here I have another boombox, a much more modern one that I found in the garage. I can't really remember the story. I get a feeling it might have a faulty CD player in it. RX-DS520. Other than that, not very fancy, just a full auto stop. Tape deck, tape tuner, CD, radio, X-bass. Probably reasonably loud, reasonably decent sounding unit. Not really a fan of the look of these things much, but even these are starting to get a bit old now. It's got a cable tie on the power cord. Get rid of that. Let's plug it in and see what it does. If nothing else, it'd be good for parts, this sort of thing. We want tuner. Volume control ain't much good. Everything's set to maximum. Now one channel's down. Are we plugged in? Probably not. Often the case they get yanked on and pulled out or something. Still nothing. We've got a balance control. Don't think so. Does it come out the other end? Is it even this speaker? Yes, it is. Yeah, there's not much left of that terminal, but it seems to be connected. Oh my god. Look at these wires. It's got one strand left, but that should be enough to connect it alright. I guess I could hook it to the other channel and see if it's the channel or the speaker. Maybe that's what's wrong with it. Nothing would surprise me. Ugh. That speaker seems to be... I can hear the tweeter going, and that's about it, I think. Horrible little hissing sound it's making. Well, that's not a very good start. Don't tell me we've got an open circuit woofer or something. Oops, there goes the rest of that terminal. Of course, it's tore off inside the thing. Should be able to grab it though. Maybe not. Hope that doesn't go inside the unit somewhere. Okay, so I think we'll abandon that speaker for the moment. Let's see what the rest of the unit does before I bother pulling the speaker apart, but that sounds probably not likely to be much other than a dead woofer. I guess I should check. Let's put the good speaker in the other channel, make sure that seems to work. Because if they blown the speaker, then they may have blown the channel as well. No, the channel's good. And how do we tune it? Oh, they're hidden there. So yeah, tuning knob sort of not the most obvious one on earth. Yeah, that's pretty knackered. Just going to tape. We have take up. Auto stop. Yeah, heads come up, a little bit dirty on there, but nothing too bad. I guess shove the tape in and see if it sounds any good. Besides being one channel, these did have issues sometimes with the lasers failing in these Panasonic things. Didn't sound very good, it just went zit 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 and nothing by the look of it. So it doesn't seem to accept there's a disc in there. Where's the... Do not touch the lens. There must be a switch down inside it somewhere maybe. Yeah, Yeah, same horrible noise and nothing. So it looks like we're going to have to pull a couple of things apart here. First one being this speaker. I want them off anyway. Well, I've got a good antenna out of it if nothing else. How did that just come off? I didn't even take any notice. Did it slide up? Yeah, it slides up. Which way do I go? That way, towards the speaker. Very light plasticky sort of unit. Guess I might as well find out now what is wrong with this speaker. Because obviously if the tweeter's running and the woofer isn't, well, there's only really one thing it could be, is the woofer itself. Can't get the screwdriver in the screw. Come on. I'm hitting it, but it's not slotting into the head for some reason. What is going on with these things? They're standard Phillips screws by the look of it. Oh, that's a new one. What on earth? Feels like it's getting into the Phillips slot, but it's not doing anything. I don't think any of these others are going to even reach it. What on earth? I do have a long, smaller screwdriver somewhere, I should still have. I did buy a smaller tipped one, but I don't hold much hope for that one either. What is going on here? There's the screw. No, that's not going into it. Oh man, it just... I don't know if they've got weird heads on them or it's just really hard to line them up. Out you come. Looks like a standard screw to me. Must be just something weird about trying to get the... I swear that's slipping inside the head. Really weird. What on God's earth is going on with this thing? I don't think that's going into the head. It seems to, the screwdriver seems to land everywhere but in the... I've never had such a difficult screw to locate. That is so weird. What is going on? That one's in. I've never had to get some knack of getting the screwdriver on the head of the screws before. I don't know what they've shaped the bottom of these holes like, but it must be weird, I think. Yeah, finally in there. Yeah, that's really hard to get the thing where you want it. Now I'll get the hang of it. I still got one that I didn't seem to be able to... Oh yeah, just, that is really strange. Those screws must be weird as far as getting the screwdriver to locate in them or something. You can see where the screwdrivers hit everywhere around them. Yeah, they are. They actually are a weird screw. They just... They don't have the little... I think they normally have a bit so that this head of the screwdriver slots in there a bit easier. So I assume we're looking at an open circuit voice coil here. Yeah, certainly a shame looking at a Panasonic like this after that RX series from the 80s. Yeah, as open as. Ooh. Seriously. That's why, I don't know. Suddenly it's good. That's why I always check along these flexible wires, because sometimes that's a dodgy... now we're open again. Now we're good again. See, they do break. I think that one might have a dicky bit somewhere. So it's fine there. Very weird. Let's try and moving it around a bit. Or am I just not making a good connection? Maybe it's that one. No, of course now it decides to operate fine. Oh, now it doesn't. And now nothing makes it come back. Damn, it's not the flexible wires, I don't think. That's some crazy stuff. Now I've got nothing again. Oh, and now it's come back, just randomly. Now it's gone again. Oh, we've got 0.1, so some resistance there. Oh, I touch that one, it comes good. Oh, got an intermittent speaker, brilliant. Seems to vary a bit with the pressure I put on here. Yeah, now it's gone high again. Or is that just flux or something? I'm none the wiser. Oh, now I've got an open circuit, so maybe it is the cord. Oh, these things are insane. This is driving me nuts. No, now it's open again. What a crazy ass speaker. It's just random as hell. To have some old ones lying around I could just swap it with. Well, that's the craziest thing ever. Yeah, nothing down there at all. So maybe it's up in the actual, under the dust cap there somewhere. Because yeah, I don't remember it saying anything about a dodgy speaker. Usually it's the last thing to fail on these sort of things, but it goes to show it probably one of the reasons this thing got chucked out. Intermittent speaker as well as faulty CD player. Yeah, the next thing is whether you can get that, might heat the soldering iron up, melt that glue there. There should be a couple of soldered bobs. Sometimes you can cut it off or maybe snip it off. Got to be careful because there's a super fine wire going down into the voice coil under this little strip that goes to the dust cap. If I can just open that up a bit. This one side looks really dull. That one's shiny. There's some corrosion or like a dry joint or something in this thing. It'd be kind of weird getting a dry joint on a speaker. I don't think I've ever had one, but they do go open circuit. For some reason, that one's just a bit... Part of it's silver, but part of it's not so good. Yeah, open circuit there. Ooh, but there's the... yeah, I really don't think that's been well soldered or something, but I've got to be careful I don't rip the little wire off that goes to the speaker, because I have no idea where it is in here. That looks like a bad solder joint. There's my magnifier. What on earth am I looking at there? I think that it's like the glue's got in between the solder and the... and something. Probably should be doing this a bit with something a bit finer and a bit more gentle, but I mean, generally they are not a repairable unit. God, crazy when you have to try and repair speakers. You risk ripping the cone a bit here too, but there should be like an eyelet. That's what I think I'm seeing. It looks like the solder in the middle of the eyelet, which I guess is the wire. That would be the end of the wire coming through from the back. That doesn't seem to be the best, which would explain the sort of issue we got. Whether it's really the issue though, or it's just a time waster. The wire comes up in there somewhere and I can't quite see it. But hopefully that other little wire is soldered to the solder blob, or the eyelet. The end of that is not what you'd call tinder or anything. It's sort of coppery stuff sticking through. I could be wrong, but yeah, that definitely looks chunky as. But maybe it's okay. Maybe it just looks that way because of the glue and stuff. No, it's worth trying to resolder it, I guess. Probably won't make any difference, but I guess I should see if the CD player is fixable first, because that's probably more likely not going to be fixable. No, it's still open. That'll be right. That one's connected alright. And this one should be connected to that wire. But there's nothing in between them. So is there an issue with that little wire here? Oh shit, there's the little wire, I think. Yeah, there is an issue if you've disconnected the little wire. Or was it already disconnected? I think that's the end of it there. God, you can barely see a thing. It is the tiniest little wire. That's the end of it. Oh, there it is. That's definitely it. And I've definitely disconnected it. Or it was already disconnected, floating in the air. Let's... Oh, come on. Do something. Not sure if that soldered it or not. I can still see a bit of it sticking out. Oh, that's got it. But whether that will fix anything, let's see if we've at least got a connection here. Still seems a bit iffy, but that might just be me not making a good connection. Go over the ends of the lead. I wonder if that was just held in place with glue or something. Well, it's working at the moment. I guess all we can do is screw it back together. That's the best test. If it's going to play up, it'll do it as soon as I put the cover back on. But you never know, I might have just repaired a speaker. Because I don't know, that wire can't have come off from me. It looked like it had a tinned end on it, like it was meant to be soldered to something, so I hadn't broken it, because it would have been too short if I had. And there wasn't a lot of solder around where the copper wire, that flexible bit from the back, came through. And a weird amount of glue kind of around it, so I wonder if the thing never got soldered in properly and someone, or the machine or whatever, put a blob of glue over it, and it could have gone for years before it finally played up, who knows. I might like it just played up as soon as I got hold of it. Might just stick a couple of those screws back in for now and see what happens. But yeah, they're a rather weird head on those screws. They're not, they've just got sharp edges sort of on the Phillips head part. There's nothing to allow the screwdriver to slot into it, which I think they normally have a bit of a thing to allow that, but I've never had such difficult screws. I need to re-strip the end of it too. Probably have to cut both of them off. I think it's probably the best way to the same length. A bit longer than I would normally have them, but that's kind of what they had. Yeah, that's probably about right. I'll maybe trim that other one off a little bit. Come on, connect your mongrel. So far so good. I guess I could plug it into the actual unit. There's an even bigger test once you start vibrating it with some sound. I can hear something going on. Oh, we're on CD mode. How do I... That seems to be alright. Yeah, well, that seems to work. So maybe I'll just repair the speaker. Pretty sure I have done that once or twice before, but it's pretty rare you'd even look and bother. And certainly if it's not intermittent like that, you wouldn't bother, but who knows how many speakers have just something like that got in them. If they haven't been obviously fried. No screws under there. Let's see if the screws coming out of this thing any easier. Yeah, that goes in alright. Maybe it's just because I can see it better, I don't know. Normally just get the screwdriver down, hit the head. You know, they seem to be similar. Oh, there it goes. And you just jiggle it around a bit until you fall into the hole. But I don't hold out much hope because these CD players normally have a Panasonic or Technics, any of those ones that they have a special laser for them only, and they used to cost a fortune and they used to fail a lot for some reason. One thing Panasonic didn't get right. But you never know, it could be dust down in the unit or something like some of these new ones get. I should at least get the front off, and then we may have to, oh yeah, got to eject the tape, take the volume off, I guess. That's simple enough. Oh, these buttons that all have to fit back onto the mech. So that's what it looks like inside. Still got a non-generic tape deck in it. It's got its own, possibly its own one, but it's not the normal throwaway type. It's almost completely plastic. And yeah, graphic board, radio board. I think we have to take these two screws out here by the look of it at the back to get the top off and the CD part loose. Because with that door and everything on it, I can't even see what it's doing. What does that do? Anything? It's coming somewhat loose. Do we have more? Yeah, of course we have more screws under here. We can at least get this bit of plastic out of the way would be nice. Hopefully the mech stays in there once, and this disappears. Yeah, that's how it's done. Excellent. So now a laser warning light there, don't look into it, etc. Oh, there's like a double switch down in here by the look of it. So the first thing I want to do is just see, does it do the normal focus search and stuff? They normally at least do that. Whatever, if we turn it on. And which one? The CD mode's up. It's doing a little searchy thing, centers itself, lens goes up and down a few times. Now I'll have to look on a bit of an angle, see, I might turn the light off, see if that looks like the laser's lighting up. I'm yet to see one that doesn't. Not sure if it did or not. I can't see a red light in this one. Or can I? Yeah, is that on? No, that's... Oh yeah, I think there is something. Oh yeah, definitely. Have to look a bit harder than a lot of them. The lens doesn't look 100% clean, but it's pretty shiny, so I don't think that's dirty, but doesn't have to give it a cleaner anyway. Of course the metho's run out like usual. All this cleaning things has used it all up. Yeah, well, that cotton bud ain't no good. I thought I had one clean end on it, but it's possibly a tad cleaner, but I don't think that was our main problem. So it's acting like it can't even find the disc at all. Don't know if there's much point pulling it apart, but this will normally be something in this laser mech. The pickup shot basically. And it's possible the spin motor doesn't work or something, but I doubt it. Could try giving the thing a spin maybe, but can sometimes get things like these cables fail, but pretty unlikely. So I've actually got a Technics IC there, another Technics IC, AN something or other, so it is all Panasonic stuff. I guess I should at least put a disc on it and see if there's anything, any sort of action of any sort. It doesn't even seem to try and... So it makes a bit more noise than you would expect. I should have pulled out this end, might be better, easier to get back in again, I guess. So we might as well have a look at it. Looks like 3 little screws, and you can unsolder the motors usually. Basically makes them impossible to test. But in theory it could be some other thing, but it's very rare it's not just a faulty laser pickup. The electronics in these things is almost 100% reliable. I don't think I've ever had one where I've changed the laser pickup and it didn't fix it. Yeah, assuming that I mean, normally if it's the motors or something, that's about the only thing you can get wrong, but if it's playing badly, it's often a faulty spin motor or something. But if it's not reading at all, it's usually the laser itself. Now, I don't know if these ones just fail suddenly or what, but they always seem to be in a non-read mode. They're not playing badly like a lot of CD players will get to the point where they play badly. Does that flick up? Or flick out? Or do I do something with that? This is a bit of a different connector to the usual one. Oh, it does come out the whole thing, I think. Yeah. You've got to push it backwards. I guess another thing I could check is none of these caps have failed, because you never know. Given the age of this stuff now, in the past I was fixing these things when they weren't all that old. But another 15-20 years have gone by since then. So anything could be faulty in these things in theory. 0.3, that's probably fine. I doubt it's a really low value. It's 100 mic. Yeah, it's about right. Which one was that one? That little one there. That must be that one. 0.2, that's a 220. There's two little tiny ones. 6.4, 6.8, 0.7. 0.2, 0.7 is possibly a little high, but what is it? It's a 220 mic, 6.3. So that one could be getting a little high. I don't know how picky these things are. Some switch mode power supplies will shut down if they even slightly high. Had trouble finding a problem in an NEC video once, and it turned out because it measured fine on the ESR meter, but it turned out the cap was actually just a little bit out. So if I'd just done it the old way of swapping caps over first thing, I would have found a fault immediately. Because I used an ESR meter, it actually put me off the cap being the problem. So then I had to do a heap of fault finding to come back and think it was the cap that was faulty. Yeah, 0.7 isn't a lot out, even if that cap is a bit out. So that's the spin motor. Don't know what sort of laser that is. Could that get dust in there? I reckon it probably could, although the whole thing's pretty clean, so that would suggest that's not the problem, but it doesn't mean it's not faulty. That motor seems to make a lot of noise, but I don't think it's... I guess we could double check like that. The motor's not open circuit or something weird, but I doubt it. It's most likely this laser. God, it's a tiny little thing. How do we get that out of there? Looks like we have to take the laser out from underneath, do we? Oh, you've got to take the motor off. Probably a complete waste of time. How does that come out? It looks like we just pull it up there, do we? It's starting to come. Oh, these little pins. Yeah, they are. Do I even need to worry about that? I'm probably not going to get it back together if I don't. Now the question is, these little pins like to pop their tops off and break and stuff if you're not careful. Which I think they're that type of pin. You've probably got to spread this bottom bit, I think, to... yeah, that's the type. Can I lift while I do that, though? That should come out. Yeah, they certainly don't make them like they used to. Much like cars, everything's these little clip-together things that are designed to break. But at least the car ones, you can go and buy them from places easy enough, but these ones not so much. Maybe I should just... there it goes. Talk about fiddly. It should come out easier than that. I'll spread the plastic apart and it still won't come out. Where's the other one? There, somewhere. There. And with that screwdriver spreading it right apart, there it goes. And now all the springs are going to fall out everywhere. There we go. The red one was at the motor end. That's where the red one is. These ones don't even have anything to locate them. So I'm going to take this motor off. but I don't have much hope of actually fixing this thing, but we might as well have a quick look. Just make sure nothing here is funny. That spins fine. Is that gear? No, it's not eccentric. I don't think it looks a little bit eccentric, the little gear, but I think it's just because it's got a blob of grease on it in one spot. Now we should be able to just lift this up, I assume. Or not. Slide it up these little posts. Come on. And pull the shaft out, and there comes the laser. So that's the number on this thing, probably is. Because I'm just thinking, I don't know if that cover, does it come off? Yep, something's going or coming off. There's a little clip down there, yep. Fiddly as. Oh, you can actually see the mirror, angled mirror there underneath. If you lift the lens up, there's just a little sloping mirror, so the optics, you know, there's the diode, you can tell from those connections, and the laser's probably under this bit somewhere. So what they've done. So I wonder if they've just got them both pointing at the same little mirror. Can't really see the laser, it's... Where is it? There's a hole under there, so I don't know if that's something to do with it, but usually you can see the little diode easy as. But my idea is to try cleaning that mirror. I think does have a little bit of muck on it, but not sure it's enough to cause any real issues. But it's amazing what cleaning those can do to fix things. Yeah, can I get a cotton bud if I can lift that up from the other side maybe, or just with my finger? Yeah, it's getting it to stay up. And to get the cotton bud under it. Because there's a couple of little magnets there, I think. Probably pulling it back. I think that cotton bud, I need to flatten that out. If I've got one with pliers. It's often the way with these, you've got to flatten them to fit them in. And just be careful we don't bend these wires or anything, because they are kind of part of the laser spring mech. That's kind of it. Well, there's a little bit of stuff come off there by the look of it. Doubt that's going to fix anything, but I've had a success getting some DVD players and PlayStation 2s and stuff going that way. And even I think a Sharp or two, a couple of things that came in that were just out of warranty, and it's like there's no way the laser could have failed. Well, it could have, but very unlikely to have worn out. That's when I started thinking about could dust or something get in some of these things, and started trying cleaning them. And yeah, save the customer a bit of money that way, because there's no point replacing a new laser if you can clean the dust out of it. That doesn't want to go down because that obviously hasn't gone back in properly. Where'd those other pliers go? That felt like it went in, it probably dropped out again. There we go. Now that'll drop down. And that went that way, I guess. Or not. Oh, that way maybe. No. That way must be it then. Probably should have got in a bit closer for this bit, but not an awful lot to see anyway. Oh, didn't put the cover back on, you moron. There's always something. That's why I never put the part far away, because you're bound to forget. There's probably not much point because it's not going to work anyway, but I guess in case I don't want to have to pull the whole thing to bits. God, what a fiddly little thing. Might as well click it on and be hopeful. Even though experience has taught me there's probably not much point hoping with one of these lasers. And you just get that little bit on the other side has to slot onto the plastic bed. Get this poked in the end there, or at least I know how to do that a bit easier now. That goes straight in. Should do. But, you know, obviously this thing isn't worth putting a new laser in, if you can even get them these days, since I'm not going to use it. Still alright as a display piece, I guess. Rotten little things. Well, that one's easy enough to get back in, this one not so much. Yeah, it's got it. Oh, they're not too bad. If I put start putting that back in maybe, without pushing it home. Yeah, I should make a nice click as they go in. Oops, that didn't sit down right. Is that all there was to that front one? I think it just sat there. Oh yeah, the clip there holds it, that's right. Now we can screw the board back in. And that's the other problem with audio, you never saw much of the same model, so you never got familiar with it, whereas CRT TVs and VCRs are all very similar. The newer they got, the more similar they became. And yeah, they had variations in them, but a lot more similar than... It wasn't the sort of mechanical issues of putting them together and apart like with audio gear. Been completely different in each unit a lot of the time. At least they used the Sony lasers in a lot of things, so that made life easier. Whereas these ones you really didn't see them that much. But every time you did see them, they seemed to be dead. We're on CD. It's a bit quieter than it was, I think. But can it detect a disc is the question. Ooh! No way. It's obviously slipping at the moment, but it's trying to read it, so that's a good sign. Maybe it was just a bit of dust there. I can't believe such a small amount of stuff in there. I mean, it doesn't look very dirty, but it did have a coating of what it could be, like cigarette tar or something out of wood heaters, something out of cooking, like an oil film, grease film kind of thing. So I don't know why they're so picky. Maybe they're lower power or something, these later ones, but the old ones could get quite dirty and didn't really care too much. These new ones seem to be super, or newer lasers seem to get super picky. We'll see if it does fix it. It might just be coincidence or luck that it's reading, but it does look promising, because that's normally what you'll get. They'll start trying to spin the disc. I guess I should turn the power off while I'm doing this, but I'm not going to touch anything dangerous. I just don't want to short anything out, but I can't see what I could really do. The other thing I'll just give a quick clean, as I always do with a CD, is clean that platter off, because they do get sticky stuff stuck to them and stuff, and a bit lumpy, which can make the disc. And the upper side, I guess I should check that, probably fine. It just helps the disc read a bit better if there's absolutely no muck on there. That sounds promising. Very promising, and we've got 18 flashing on the display, so Well, I'll be damned, that actually did fix it. It's, I think, the first Panasonic one I've ever got to work. So it goes to show it is worth trying these things. Because again, it's pretty crazy that this thing's died from just a bit of dust. But you know, if a laser's worth $100 or something, you just saved someone a bit of money if you're repairing it for someone. I mean, who knows if this CD's even had much use. That's the thing, it may be low hours and yet it still failed. Let's hook our two speakers up, including Mr. Dodgy's speaker here. Let's see if that's going to still operate. Might have had some luck with this one. There's a lot of people just give up and go, oh yeah, I know they're dodgy lasers, just quote for another one, and it would fix it. But you've just cost the customer a lot more money, or just probably lost the job because someone's going to say, no, I'm not spending that on it, and throw the thing in the e-waste or on the dump or whatever, or maybe just keep it in the shed as a radio cassette. It's usually what happens to them, they get downgraded. Yeah, there's the disc still in there, and should be. Seems a bit reluctant to change tracks, but is it just can't seem to. Oh, yeah, it's working. As we lay in the dark and there is pretty picky. Doesn't take much to make it skip, but it's on track 16. Be interesting to see if it skips under its own bass. That's always a risk with these sort of things when the speakers are attached. Oh yeah, that's the other thing, volume control. Good thing I was just about thinking about putting it back together, but that's why you always test them a bit. Oops, that turns the CD off. Let's go back to the beginning. Oh, I have to reset it and try it again. 18 tracks it's found. Is it playing or it's just going to sit there? Not sure I pays to try every function out. Where's the pause on this? Hit play again. Yeah, that's the one. Stop works. It's a little bit funny with the skip forward function. Yeah, still pretty picky. Let's try it earlier in the disc. Yeah, a bit picky. One thing to check, I guess, is that I did actually get the laser sprung alright. Seems to move around alright. It's a little stiffer than I would have expected, so it could be that those rubber mounts are starting to go is another thing that does fail in these things. But if they're too sloppy, of course, they will drop so low that they'll bang into the plastic underneath, so it's probably not too bad. But that's definitely loose. I haven't messed it up, but that's not surprising given its age. It may well, and I don't know how good these discs are. They're fairly unscratched and stuff, but yeah, I don't overly like the feel of that mech, but I think it's all back together correctly. But I think I'll call that as fixed as it's going to be. And I'll give the tape deck a clean while I'm in here. And I guess I can go over all these, give these buttons a quick clean off too, the switches and stuff, while they're sticking out the front. One of those little mechanical erase head things just with a magnet in it by the look of it. Not surprising. Tiny amount of stuff on the head. Capston's got a bit on it. So it's had some use, this unit, even in the tape deck. Nice bit of oxide coming off there. I wonder if some of these pinch rollers out of these later units would fit the earlier ones, because these would be good replacements since they're a bit later. If you could get some of these things cheap enough. It's a shame they won't let you take a lot of the stuff out of the e-waste, because it'd be perfect just for pinching a few parts out of. I have seen some in the e-waste I could have bought for next to nothing. I thought, what do I want old tape decks and stuff for? But that was before I got back into doing a couple of these things. But they would have been a good source of parts, really. And I'll give this thing a clean out under all the buttons and stuff in the front. Blow any dust out of the side there. Probably should clean up on around the CD player and stuff while the front is exposed. Bit of muck on the top usually. Most of it isn't on the front anyway. Front panel bit. Yeah, these silly switches, how do we get them back on? There's a knack to that, I think. Yeah, they all hang down. I don't know if you do them on their back. All these switches like to hang down. So I hold all these. Got to hold all these buttons because they just drop. But they've all got just a piece of plastic sticking out the back. It's got to line up with the tape deck. So usually got to hold them all in place, and you can't got that silly door in the way as well, because that won't stay shut until you got the ejector mech there. Yes, that's got them. Just make sure the front stays on. I'll put the volume knob on. Make sure that doesn't slip out again until we've got some screws back in place. Because you don't have to fiddle with all those again. And then I can screw that speaker back together, I guess, and hope it keeps going. I mean, if it was a repair for a customer, you probably would just get a new speaker for it to be sure, because it's not really worth the hassle of having a comeback if it doesn't fix it. I mean, some customers are alright if you just say, look, I can try and do this to it and see if it keeps running. If it doesn't, we'll have to order a new one. It'll be so much extra. Other people get a bit upset if you sort of mess them around like that. But this is only just an old one for the hell of it for me. Is there a disc in there? I think I took it out, didn't I? little iffy. Yeah, still very picky. So I might screw that speaker back together and then we'll put the speakers on it and see how it likes its own vibrations. Because I don't think it's going to be too happy with them. Yeah, I'm not sure when this one would have been made, probably the late 90s or something. But there's really not much in the way of redeeming features about these later ones, other than they were just a basic unit that worked. But they kind of lost the coolness of the earlier boomboxes. They don't look very interesting, and this one's definitely a very plastic low-end model. And there's just, yeah, not a lot to say about them. They do actually sound pretty good and everything. There's nothing wrong with the performance normally. Got some pretty good speakers in them. Did they slide down? I think they did, didn't they? Oh, that's it. It's finally found its little groove. Let's sit a bit better. Well, it's alright on that track. Yeah, this is weird, this. You sort of push and push and push and it doesn't skip very well. It waits until it finds the track, I think, so that's usually something a cheaper unit would do. Sony or something, you just go bang 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 and it'll go straight to the track. So even with maximum bass, it doesn't seem to skip, so that's about good enough. At least if it doesn't skip under its own thing, you can't really complain too much about the performance. I don't think it'll be much good in portable mode. Pretty hopeless. It's even going to find the track again. Oh, well, I'll give it a quick clean up and that should do on that one. But at least that's actually got the CD going, so it goes to show it is worth trying to clean the laser down inside it, just in case there's something in there. It's not the world's greatest laser now, and yeah, actually looked like a dodgy solder joint. I guess I should have put a bit of black stuff over. I can now see a couple of solder blobs in that speaker. Knowing that they're there, no one else would probably notice. And I should clean the dust out, I guess, of the hole while I had the speaker out, but that should keep it going, I think. Thanks for watching.